Hello, everybody. Adele here from Adele Frizzell, LLC. All right, so I promised you that today I was going to talk about the Transformer HCG program. We actually have two Transformer programs. One is just the Transformer program, and the other one is Transformer using HCG. I don't know how many of you ladies know about HCG. If you don't, please don't be too confused. It's probably not going to be that relevant to you, but if you've heard about it and you're curious, maybe I can answer some of your questions about it and about the program. All right, so what is the HCG diet? I've actually written a whole book about this, so I can't cover everything in a 10-minute, 15-minute Facebook Live, but I will say it is a very controversial diet. It was started by Dr. Albert Siemens in a weight loss clinic in Italy. He treated thousands of patients this way. And it was a 500-calorie protocol, and people took hormone injections. And basically, this diet is very controversial because of the calories are so low. Many people have tried the diet. In fact, most of my clients have done the diet repeatedly. We'll get to that in a moment. But it is a diet that is very effective for rapid weight loss. But there are some risks involved because the calories are so low. I have created my own protocol, which is a higher calorie protocol. We have higher protein as well to spare muscle during the diet phase. There are a lot of promises with the HCG diet and a lot of marketing spin online. And you might have seen some of the headlines, things like lose 1 to 2 pounds a day, lose fat evenly, preserve your muscle, reset your metabolism, improve your thyroid function, and best of all, keep the weight off permanently. Well, a lot of that is bogus because a lot of my clients have done the diet multiple times, so clearly they have not reset their metabolism and they have not kept the weight off permanently. That's a downside. But the upside is a lot of them have been successful multiple times with losing the weight quickly and losing a lot of weight, okay? So they come to me usually because at some point they get frustrated through repeated bouts of dieting and they want to learn how to keep the weight off successfully. They're tired of going through what is a really, it's not an easy protocol to follow. It's very restricted. There might be 15 to 20 foods that you can eat. It's only 500 calories. A lot of them don't have much energy, and you are actually advised not to exercise when you do the original protocol. And so they're looking for something with a bit more flexibility, and they want to learn how to keep the weight off when the diet ends. Because a lot of weight loss centers, they'll help you lose weight, but then you're on your own when the diet is over. And that's where I come in with the Transformer program. So basically, I give them a higher calorie protocol, and that's usually 800 to 1,000 calories a day. This minimizes nutrient deficiencies. And also you're allowed to exercise. Now you might have to tone that down a bit. If you strength train, say 5 times a week, you might want to go to 3 times a week. You don't want to overdo it because you don't have a lot of fuel and it's easy to become rabidly hungry if you overdo it. I do recommend walking. It's really helpful for weight loss. And in the program, we work on adopting 1 new habit a week so that those habits are cemented as you go through the 3 months of the program, and when you graduate, you have some healthy new habits. Now, for some people, those healthy new habits are like wet cement, and they still need to continue to work on them. But when they graduate, they have a much clearer understanding of nutrition and nutrition science because there's a lesson and a quiz every week. And some of those lessons are long. They're 45 minutes long. Some are 10 minutes long. But we always test you on your knowledge afterwards, after doing the lesson with a little quiz, and give you feedback on it. And this helps to demystify a lot of the BS about nutrition. We take a deep dive into carbohydrates and why carbohydrates are good. Fats, protein, and we look at mindset and behavior change, like why weight management is hard and how to maintain your weight loss without always having to track things with a calorie counter or macro counter like MyFitnessPal. We introduce pleasurable activities that get your body moving, just a number of things. And there are 2 calls a week, so we can take a deep dive into the psychology behind weight loss and weight maintenance. People can share their wins and their challenges with each other. And it's probably one of the best parts of the program. that's the feedback anyway. People really do love calls. They bond in the calls. They learn a lot about themselves in the calls, especially where there might be some inner resistance to losing weight or even keeping the weight off, because there's a lot of reasons why people put on weight. Some of these are lifestyle, some are habits, some are psychological. In fact, I would say that 90% of this is mental. Once you satisfy maybe some nutritional deficiencies or some hormone imbalances, you know, a lot of this is mental. So anyway, that's the Transformer HCG program. It does vary from the original Siemens protocol, like I mentioned. There are some similarities, but there are definitely some differences. I like to think that mine is a lot more flexible. People are allowed to eat any food they like as long as it fits their macros. Just one sec, I need a sip. So let me take a dive into some of the common questions people have about the program. If you have any questions, just comment below. I'll be monitoring that and I will answer your questions in the comments. But a really common one is, well, how much weight can I lose on your program? And let me tell you, this is not an easy answer. And the reason is, some people come into my program and they only want to lose 5 more pounds. And so, in which case I actually don't recommend HCG for those last 5 to 10 pounds. I recommend just tweaking some nutrition choices and activity levels, and I'll help you through that. But some people come in honestly just wanting to lose 5 to 10 pounds, and some people come into the program and they want to lose 40 or more pounds. And so some people stay in phase 2, the diet phase, longer than others. And this is why we will see, like, the average will be all over the place. But generally, you know, according to my research, it is about 20 pounds. But some people are dieting for 3 weeks and some people are dieting for 60 days. Okay, so it really does vary. And there's a lot of factors that really impact weight loss. And it's not just about the food you eat, okay? It is things like stress management, sufficient sleep. Insufficient sleep will actually slow down weight loss. How compliant are people on the program? Are you drinking alcohol? Because alcohol will actually slow down your fat loss. How active are you? If you have a very sedentary job, your results are not going to be as good. This is why I recommend 30 minutes of walking a day if you can do that. But hey, I've had people 300 pounds and all they could do was walk 5 minutes and they slowly work their way up. So it's possible. I'll meet you wherever you're at, basically. But you know, for you to have the best possible results, you really do want to adhere to the plan. Talk to me if you're not able to adhere to the plan, and we'll make a new plan. You want to focus on your sleep, your stress, your water consumption, your activity levels, and more, okay? Very important. And generally, people average about 0.4, in my last group, 0.4 pounds, like less than half a pound a day on average. But keep in mind, this group was quarantined during COVID and it was a lot less active. So the results were not as high as I've seen. I had one person lose 41 pounds in that group and one person lose, I think, 6 or 8 pounds in that group. So it was all over the board. But generally, I'm finding that people are losing about 1/3 to a half a pound a day on average during the program. Most women lose about 15 to 20 pounds in a month on B2 and a bit more during the reverse diet phase, and leaner individuals, of course, and those with hypothyroidism or underlying medical conditions can lose a little less, okay? I can't guarantee specific results for clients. It really does depend on so many factors. Men lose more easily than women, usually because they have greater amounts of muscle mass, your health conditions, all of that I mentioned, okay? And so if you have any questions about that, just comment below. Like I said, I will answer it. But really, you can't control the outcomes. All you can do is control the actions you take to get the best possible outcome. That's what you should focus on. All right. What is another question that people have that's common? How is my protocol different from the Siemens protocol? Well, like I touched on already, Siemens is 500 calories a day, a very restricted list of foods. You can only walk, okay? With my protocol, it's 800 to 1,000 calories, sometimes more if somebody was super active, but usually 800 to 1,000 calories. You can exercise, but I'd want to discuss that with you. I do recommend strength training 2 to 3 times a week. I could recommend a program for you in order to preserve as much muscle as possible. I have my ladies on at least twice the amount of protein as Siemens did. His recommendations was about 50 grams of protein a day. We double that. Why? Because my research shows that actually HCG is not protective of muscle. You will lose muscle during the diet. Some people lose more muscle than others. And it's the same reasons why, you know, some people lose more weight than others. Stress can make you more catabolic, which means muscle tissue eating. Lack of sleep can make you more catabolic. A lack of protein can make you more catabolic. A lack of resistance training can make you more catabolic. And one thing that actually protects you from muscle loss is having more body fat. So that actually is a factor in muscle loss as well. But the original Siemens protocol, I believe, is deficient in protein. In fact, it barely meets the recommended daily allowance for protein. And the recommended daily allowance is just enough to prevent disease and prevent death. So really, you should be having more protein, especially in a diet phase, especially in a very low calorie phase, to preserve that muscle. Why do you want to preserve that muscle? Because it's your metabolic engine. What happens when people diet repeatedly over and over and over without strength training, without having sufficient protein, they start to lose muscle mass. When they start to lose muscle mass, their metabolism slows. And this is why it becomes harder and harder to lose weight, possibly as you get older, but with repeated dieting. Your metabolism does start to slow down. Build some muscle and you can help your metabolism. All right, so really important that you do those things. Get enough sleep, get enough protein, manage stress, get enough nutrients, make sure you hit your protein goals, and strength train. Okay, so another question was, does it really target abnormal fat deposits? No. Where you pull fat from is genetically determined. Okay, so Dr. Siemens talked about how the HCG diet could actually pull from abnormal fatty areas, like if somebody carried a lot of extra fat in their thighs or maybe on the hump of their back, and he said that it would pull from there. That's actually genetically determined, and it will come off when it comes off. And generally, where you want it to come off first will come off last. You know, I'm apple-shaped. I tend to lose last in my stomach area. I put it on first in my stomach and back. My legs tend to stay kind of lean. Other ladies might be opposite that. It's just the way it happens. And actually, I had DEXA scans, which is, you know, body scanning, imaging to show exactly how my body composition was, how my fat tissues were. I could see it. And it was true, like that visceral fat, those fat deposits in the upper body were the last to come off. And those you could say were my abnormal fat deposits. So again, one of the questions was, does it preserve muscle mass? I think it could, the hormone itself, if you actually take the HCG hormone, it's possible that it does help protect against some muscle loss, but I do not have enough research, nor does anybody else, to say whether it actually does preserve. Well, I can tell you it doesn't preserve muscle mass. There will be muscle loss on the HCG diet. How much depends on some of those factors I mentioned. So I can say unequivocally, you will lose muscle on the HCG diet, but hey, you will lose muscle on any diet. And that's a really important point, because people really beat up the HCG diet because it's low calories. Many fit pros and many trainers will say it's a terrible diet, you're gonna lose all your muscle, etc. That has not been what my research has shown. In fact, if you look at the obesity research, it recommends that a good diet is one where you lose no more than 25% of your muscle mass during the diet. That sounds like a lot, right? So if you lose a pound, a quarter of that, no more than a quarter of that should be muscle. Okay. My goal is obviously to make you lose a lot less muscle than that. I really don't want people to lose muscle. If I can help them build muscle during the diet, that would be even better. And in fact, I've had a couple clients who have built muscle even on an 800 calorie diet. So it is possible to put on muscle even on a very low calorie diet. It's also possible to preserve some muscle if you sort of follow my protocol. All right, so, but can you keep all your muscle? Highly unusual. Highly unusual to actually build muscle. I see it happen about 10 to 20% of the time where people put on muscle during the diet. All right. You will lose muscle, but again, I don't think you're going to lose statistically as much as people think that you're going to lose on the HCG diet, or at least on my diet, I will say. On the HCG diet, you could definitely lose more muscle because you're not doing those things to protect you from muscle loss that I mentioned, all right? But it's not as bad as most people think. Okay, so can you still work out well in P2? Okay, so again, as I said, you can still work out with me. In fact, I encourage it. It helps you mentally, it helps you physically, it helps protect against muscle loss as well if you do the right types of activities. I do recommend staying away from long duration intense cardio. That will actually start to strip you of muscle. Walking is great, low intensity stuff is great, and some strength training or body weight training is great. And so another question is, can you be on P2, which is the diet phase, when you start working with me? Yes, you can. I just ask that you have at least 4 weeks with me. No, 4 weeks would be great, but 2 to 3 weeks would be better, a better minimum. If you know flexible dieting and macros, we can work together to get you, transition you from P2 to P3. I kind of need a bit of time to show you my methods so you understand how the tools work and everything, and then we can get you into phase 3. In fact, I like having more time with people to get them out of phase 2 and in phase 3, and spending more time reverse dieting them back to maintenance, because that's where people need the most help. I mean, the ladies who work with me, most of them have done the HCG diet more than 5 times. They know how to lose weight, they just don't know how to keep it off. So being able to spend more time with me in the reverse diet phase, the maintenance phase, is ideal, okay? I will try to meet you where you're at though. So those are kind of the main questions I think people had for me. One other one was, how many days are people on P2 or the diet phase with me? That completely is up to you. It's based on your goals, and it's based on how much medication you got from your doctor. On that note, I do not provide HCG. I try to keep arm's length from that. You can get it through your doctor. It is a prescription, and I do recommend prescription HCG, which is getting harder and harder to find. The FDA recently clamped down on it. Only compounding pharmacies can do it, and as a result, difficult to source, and the price has gone up a lot. And so you definitely need to contact a physician about that who's willing to write a prescription, but it is getting harder. So I'll let you know that. Now, on that note, because HCG is getting harder to source, it may be that this HCG program and the coaching that I offer will go away. I mean, if people can't buy the medication, then there's really no HCG program for me to have. In which case, we can still help you lose weight and get stronger and get leaner and learn how to keep the weight off through healthier habits and lifestyle change. That's something we can totally do. That's what we do in other programs. So you can definitely hop into a different program, or you can take our non-HCG transformer program. The weight loss will be slower, but it will come off. And really, if it takes you 3 months, 6 months, does it really matter that much? The whole point of it, the whole point of coaching with me, is to learn how to lose the weight and keep it off. And sometimes there's something to be said about going slow, right? Because you can lose 30 pounds, 60 pounds. I've had somebody lose 60 pounds, and you can lose it, but if you gain it all back, well, it's frustrating. So going slow gives you time to really cement your new habits, make those lifestyle changes stick, get into a training routine, etc. When people graduate with me, they have a lot of those new habits, but they can be like wet cement, and they have to continue working on them on their own so they don't regain the weight. So you can lose the weight, but the mindset has to change, the lifestyle has to change, and that can take months, that can take years, okay? And so I do have clients who've gone through the Transformer program and continue to work with me to cement their new habits, to keep getting that support and stuff, and that's definitely an option in something we call the New You program, and you might want to look at that. That is for people who aren't doing HCG. We provide strength training, we provide weekly coaching calls, we provide nutrition coaching. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, just comment below. I hope you found that interesting. And I am here for you with all your weight loss needs, with your strength training needs, with, you know, your desire to learn more about nutrition and to build a healthier mindset when it comes to food. Okay. Take care, everybody.